this is a topic which I know, I think it's interesting. Just since we've been doing the show, I think abortion is the topic where I think we have some of the strongest disagreement, which is interesting to me. But I
Well,
want
we
to get
do
your
agree
take
on
on.
some things. We should give credit where we
We
agree.
did. So I'm hoping you'll agree with me on this.
Okay.
And well, I disagree with what the Associated Press has done. So they want to get rid of the phrase heartbeat bill, and they want to replace it with cardiac activity. To me, that is very dehumanizing to say that this is not a heart, that's not a human heart, it's just cardiac activity. And that to me sanitizes what's at stake. And to me, again, this is a human rights issue. I will never back down on standing for human rights, and to dehumanize a human heart and just call it cardiac activity, I think is wrong. And what's troubling is that this is seen by billions of people. The Associated Press, their handbook, in journalism school for me, it was our Bible, the Associated Press guidebook, and all, it's the standard around the world. So to me, and this is on top of the fact that they also recently, too, before this, but recently, they said, don't call people pro-life. Either call them anti-abortion or pro-abortion rights.
Or no,
And again,
yeah, he's right. Or anti-choice
is
what they want to call them, right? Not pro-life, anti-choice.
Well, no, I'm saying this is what the Associated Press handbook officially, which is the standard for journalism around the world, seen by billions of people. They say you can't say pro-life, and you need to say anti-abortion rights or anti-abortion. And to me, that's automatically putting a pro-life person, you're not allowing them to be described the way they want to be described, and you're automatically putting them at odds with the Supreme Court, which said there is no right to an abortion. So the Associated Press is saying you must say anti-abortion rights or anti-abortion, and you can't say pro-life, and you also can't say heartbeat bill, you have to say cardiac activity. So do you think this is Orwellian and unfair to do this, to not call someone what they want to be called, and then to dehumanize the human heart?
Well, okay. To be honest, I don't see how consequential this is, other than people maybe being offended based on what they read. Is this going to affect any legislation or any policy or anything? I don't think so. So now I will say, being the fair guy that I am, and we've mentioned this before, I can't stand this PC wokeism stuff. Like, it's not a mother, it's a birthing person. I mean, this stuff drives me crazy, okay? So I'm a little old-fashioned that way. I don't think it's inappropriate to use gender references. And I think people, frankly, should, if you're a journalist, you should be able to say whatever you want. I am pro-choice, but I respect people who have different opinions, so I say pro-life. I don't say anti-choice, or I don't say, anti-abortion or whatever, because it's a philosophical difference. But having said that, I think we're splitting hairs, and I think we have more important things to deal with. I'd never heard of this before. Again, as a Stanford alumnus, I got this email about words that we're not supposed to use, and I've never been more embarrassed. So believe me, you're talking to someone who cannot stand all this word choice, these words that you use and that you can't use. I think there are obviously certain words that you can't use, but we've been using other words for decades and for generations, and it's been fine. So overall, I think this is sort of a big nothing burger, but if it means a lot to you, then I would say, okay, call yourself what you want, and let live and let live.
Well, again, as a journalist, the Associated Press handbook is a big deal. And to me, it actually shapes the culture. And
but how
culture
many journalists look at the Associated Press handbook these days? Come on.
Oh, every copy desk, every single copy, every article.
Every single copy desk.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. They are the gatekeepers of the language. So, and if it wasn't a big deal, why would they make the change? It's obviously big because they understand.
I'm just saying, given all the problems we have in this country, I just don't see this as something that's going to determine the future of the planet. I understand how it can personally get up your craw because I agree with you. I don't like it when I'm passionate about things and people try to use what I consider are misnomers. But again, I think we have more important things to deal with. And these days, so much of the journalistic bar and protocol has gone out the window that I would be very surprised. It's sort of like, it kind of reminds me of when you have to read an emergency handbook when you become a fireman and then you keep it in your locker and you never touch it again. That's kind of how I would view this.
Well, as someone who has worked in journalism, I know that that's not the case. But
Well,
I agree.
but right now, all I can say, based on the quality of the journalism and the standards, there don't seem to be much. So we'll see.
We agree on that.
Yes, that we can at least agree on. So on that note, we will wrap up another episode of Practically Political. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See you soon.